What's up, YouTube? How's everybody doing this lovely, lovely Sunday evening and stuff like that? This is your boy Reg here. Um, I've been mentioning this for the longest. You know what I'm saying? I've been mentioning this for the longest, and now it's the right time to do it. This is the beginning of my stand-up review series. Yes, the stand-up review series, and the reason being why I started reviewing because lately I've been like interested in like getting like stand up albums and whatnot. Certain albums, like if you guys haven't watched some of my collection videos lately, I've been having like a lot of stand up albums, like ranging from people like Robin Williams, Eddie Murphy, who I'm gonna mention today, Red Fox, so on and so on. I got a lot more coming up too. So I just want to do something a little different, like I always want to do something a little different and shit like that. And I thought what could be the best album? The reason why it really took me so long, I thought what would really be like the best album for me to start with. What should really be the album that I would want to do like stand up, begin the stand up reviews for, like the template of it all. And so, after a long, long while, I've thought about it and I am reviewing this masterpiece right here. Well, I don't know if people will consider this a masterpiece, but this is Eddie Murphy's self-titled debut album. And no, this is not. It's not a joke. Does not have him singing. Oh well, technically it does have him singing, but I'm gonna get more into that in a minute. But yeah, so technically it does have him sing, but it's mostly straight up stand-up comedy, raunchy Eddie Murphy and whatnot. This was released in 1982 on Columbia Records. When it comes to, comedy in general, Eddie Murphy's, somebody that definitely is a GOAT in my opinion. Definitely a GOAT in my opinion and shit like that. It just got to the point, where it's like, I know recently he's been, having a comeback lately with the Dolomite movie, which, if you guys haven't seen Dolomite Is My Name, check that movie out on Netflix. Everyone did their thing on this and stuff like that. He has definitely been like the blueprint of comedy for the last 3 decades and shit like that. Everybody from Martin Lawrence, Robin Harris, Bernie Mac, Dave Chappelle, Cat Williams, I can go on and on, like on and on. Like they've all owed something to Chris Rock as well. Owed something to this dude right here. And yeah, sometimes I do have my jokes. I say some shit like, oh, he does like a lot of kid movies and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But when it comes to Eddie Murphy in the 80s, I would say 80s up to the early 90s, like maybe 92, 93, killing it and shit like that, in my opinion. And so, with that being said, let me discuss who he is. So Eddie Murphy, for those who don't know, he's a stand-up comedian that was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? He was born and raised in Brooklyn. His mom and dad. His mom was like a telephone operator. His dad was a police officer, and he was actually an amateur actor and comedian and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So once his dad died when he was 8, and so around that time too, his mom was actually became ill too. So once his mom died too, he went into foster care for a year, and so it was then when he was in foster care that he developed his sense of humor. That is when he wanted to be a comedian and stuff like that. So by the time he was 15, he was influenced by Richard Pryor and shit like that. Because around that time in the 70s, who I'm also going to mention in this series too. So before y'all say Richard Pryor, I'm going to talk about Richard Pryor in the future. So stay tuned on that. So with that being said, Eddie Murphy influence was Richard Pryor's classic That Nigga's Crazy album that was released in 1975, and I want to say Casablanca Records. I want to say, and so with that, he started like developing like multiple characters. He started having a niche for imitating and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's when he got into doing stand up. And with his stand up around this time too. He started doing stand up, and he was just as filthy as he was. But I'm gonna get more into that in a minute. Fast forward, his stand up, got him national attention. But what really put him out there was the fact that he was a cast member in SNL. Now, there's a little thing you gotta realize when we're talking about Eddie Murphy's tenure in SNL. The 1980 to 1981 season, if you guys are familiar with Saturday Night Live, you guys know what I'm getting at. That was considered to be among like the weakest. Like it was one of those seasons of SNL was so bad, it was so bad it's good, pretty much and shit. Cause around that time, I think Lorne Michaels, he basically took some time off from SNL. He took some time off from SNL and whatnot, and you got who was running SNL at that time too? Ebersol, if I'm not mistaken. Ebersol was running SNL around that time too, and so Eddie Murphy pretty much he was not really an original like cast member and stuff like he was more like a repertory character. He was more like a repertory player and shit. But over time he got so much popularity. With SNL and whatnot. Everybody started liking that he upgraded himself into a cast member, and in that period from 1980 to 84, Eddie Murphy was pretty much running the whole show, bar none. Let's just leave it at that. He was pretty much running SNL. Like he was on his A game around that time too. And so around that time in like 19, and I'm just gonna say this once: if it wasn't for Eddie Murphy, then Saturday Night Live would not still be running today. That's all I'm gonna say. But I'm talking more too much about that. But fast forward to 1982, it was like a pretty breakthrough year for Eddie Murphy because that year he made his big screen debut with 48 Hours with Nick Nolte and shit. I don't know if I'm saying his name right and shit like that. So basically that was a real big moment for him because around that time too, that movie was so popular, it was a big hit that I think Nolte was supposed to have hosted Saturday Night Live at that year, but he was too ill, so Eddie Murphy pretty much hosted while he was a regular. And he was, I think, the only cast member that hosted SNL while he was a cast member. So that was a pretty big and shit too. So, and that same year too, he came out with his first stand-up comedy album. So the self-titled shit. Now, this is not the Comedian, aka the Delirious album. Believe me, that's gonna come this week. Believe me, I'm still working on that one. But this is the one that really put him out there, laid him out there, stand-up comedy-wise and shit. And yes, he does have a flower on his fucking head shit. You know what I'm saying? This fucking dope, raw, unfiltered Eddie Murphy and whatnot. I always love this fucking back of, them performing in this, I think the comic strip right here. Yeah, like it says right there, the comic strip. And I want to say the only single, yes, it did have a single. The only single that was released off this fucking project was Boogie in Your Butt, which was like a little comedy kind of single and whatnot. But yeah, that was pretty much the only single and shit. But with that being said, let me talk about the tracks. And mind you, like this is really like the first stand-up comedy review that I'm doing, so if shit is like a little shaky and stuff like that, bear with me. So yeah, track number 1 we got. Oh, one more thing too. If you guys, appreciate it, Try Nolte. Yeah, appreciate it. Alright, let me say, if you guys are not used to like a lot of like the words I'm about to say in this review on this album, like I'm gonna talk about a lot of races and shit like that. You'll hear the word, you hear some derogatory terms. This is not the review for you. Matter of fact, this is not the channel for you. Let me just leave that right there. So, with that being said, let's get started with this shit. Track number 1, Faggots. Yeah. So this was pretty much standard way to start off this fucking album. Faggots. So I like how he starts off. This comedy thing where he's like basically one of the crowd members is like telling Eddie, take it off, take it off. And he's like, did you just tell me to take off my clothes? And Eddie calls him like a fag, basically. And mind you, this was like the early 80s and shit like that. So, homosexuality was like pretty much like bashed everywhere and shit like that. And he got like a lot of flack within this content, which I'm gonna talk about that later on throughout this whole fucking after the end of this review. But yeah, very dope, very dope. Set right here. He's talking about his views on homosexuality or whatnot. Yeah, man, very cool, right there. Then we get Buckwheat, which yeah, Buckwheat. You guys should know that was a pretty popular sketch in SNL and shit like that. Pretty popular sketch in SNL. And what I liked about the sketch was because of the fact that Eddie Murphy pretty much was like talking about how the name Buckwheat alone, how people was like, "What's your name?" Oh, my name Buckwheat, and it's just like, what kind of name is Buckwheat and shit. And the sketch of Buckwheat was so much popular for Eddie Murphy that they had this one skit in SNL where Buckwheat actually got gunned down, basically, and they had like a funeral for Buckwheat. And I think that was in like one of Eddie Murphy's last years, so I thought that was pretty. That's how popular Buckwheat, how much of an impact Buckwheat left and shit like that. So yeah. Track number 3, Black Movie Theaters. Self-explanatory, just talking about he does this dope ass skit where he's talking about blacks in the movie theaters and shit like that. Cause how like if you go to like a movie theater and shit like that, like with a black person and shit, it's always been said that, oh, they make too much noise in the theater. Oh, they make too much noise in the theater. Oh, you can't really hear what's going on because they keep talking throughout the theater. Sometimes I even sometimes do it too and shit like that. So yeah, so you know what I'm saying, self-relatable shit like that. Then we get to Talking Cars, which is like a 1 minute, pretty much like a 1 minute skit right there. Um, it's a storytelling track where he's talking about a time his Chrysler, his Plymouth, and his Dodge, and it had that like talking computer in it. Cause at that time, that show Knight Rider, that David Hasselhoff show and stuff like that. That was like very popular around that time too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, until they brought it back for that stupid ass reboot, but that's another story for a different day. So yeah, that was pretty alright. Then we get to Doo Doo Christmas Gifts. This is pretty much probably my favorite, one of my favorite skits from this one of my favorite skits from this album. Actually, my favorite one, to be honest. Yes. My apologies. Soul Train Awards was on and shit like that. They actually doing the second part of that Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis tribute and shit like that. But yeah, so he tells this whole story about how, like, when you're a kid, you get fascinated with doo doo, aka shit, basically. You know what I'm saying? And like when you're little, you start calling it doo doo at first, and then next you know it, you end up calling it poop. Then once you're actually grown up, you start either calling it crap or shit. So, and yeah, I'm talking about the evolution of shit on my channel. I don't even know where I'm going with this, but he's pretty much talking about how he was little. He liked to throw doo doo at, I think, his girl, at his sister or whatnot, like some really disgusting shit. Throwing doo doo at people and shit like that. And his father, and basically his father is like getting mad, like, oh, you throwing doo doo again, huh? And one thing I always loved about those early Eddie Murphy stand-up specials, when the way he likes to imitate his fucking voice and shit like that. How he has the high pitched voice and he has a low pitched voice and shit. Yeah, this is basically vulgar Eddie Murphy at his finest. And then the second part was when he tells the story about how Christmas gifts, and This is some relatable shit because sometimes when you're buying like your dad a Christmas gift, it be the most hardest shit sometimes to get a Christmas gift too. And so with the Christmas gift, the father always gets either cologne or ties or whatever. And he talks about how he gave cologne to his father a couple of times too. Yeah, the Soul Train Awards is on, y'all. They're doing the Jimmy Jam Terry Lewis tribute. I think Morris Day and the Time about to reunite, if I'm not mistaken. So if y'all interested in seeing Morris Day, watch BET and whatnot. But let me not give BET too much clout at the moment. I'm just seeing people in the comment section. But yeah, so he's talking about how he had like the Old Spice. He had the Old Spice and shit. He got his dad some Old Spice, and so one time, he realized the clone just keeps stacking up and stacking up and stacking up and whatnot. So with that being said, he was one time getting ready for a date, and so he liked the way the clone was feeling on him. That he got some Old Spice, and he put the cologne on his fucking dick and shit. And once he put it on the fucking dick, it's like, ah! He just starts fucking screaming. Like, oh my fucking god. You guys have to fucking watch it for yourself and shit. Mm. Sorry about that. That was some gin and juice and shit. Excuse me, but speaking of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis, try. I was thinking about one time doing like top Jimmy Jam Terry Lewis albums, songs, or whatever. You, me, and Ash and shit. One day we can talk about that sometime, either this next month and shit. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, doo Christmas gifts. Eddie Murphy at his rawest form, in my opinion. Love that shit. And then we get into Myth, A Little Chinese, where this is again another one of the most relatable songs because he starts asking the audience what their favorite drinks were and stuff like that. And so next thing you know it, he one of the audience members was trying to ask how big Eddie Murphy's dick was. So yes, I kid you not, asking how big his dick was. So it gets into the stereotype like about how black men have big dicks and shit, which is pretty much true. It's pretty much true according to me. In my let me stop. 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 But it gets to the stereotype about how black men have big dicks and shit like that, and how Asians, have little small little rice dicks. And this is according to Eddie Murphy. I've never seen another nigga's dick, so I don't want you hear people saying I've seen Reggie's over here talking about dick sizes and dick prints and whatnot. So don't want y'all going, yeah, fuck it. Let me stop. This is the fucking gin and juice talking, but yeah, man, very funny shit right here. Very funny shit right here. Myth, A Little Chinese. And then we get to Boogie in Your Butt. Now, this is actually a comedy song. I repeat, a comedy song. Boogie in Your Butt. Boogie in Your Butt is like talking about it's a dialogue between like two people and shit like that. Both performed by Murphy, about how this anxious person is worried about putting things in his butt, and then the free spirited singer, he loves to put things in his butt and shit. So basically, I don't eating ass. I don't know. It's like this is a weird song. This is a fucking weird song. Boogie in Your Butt, like boogie in your butt. Oh shit. Yeah, I gotta bring the Ciroc out for this one. But yeah, Boogie in Your Butt, very, very funny song, It's Eddie Murphy, this was his attempt at singing and shit, at singing and whatnot, but, well, not singing, but actually making a comedy song, whatever. Then we get into Drinking Fathers. Self-explanatory Drinking Fathers. He's talking about his father when he's drunk, and he's talking about how his father, how when you're drunk and shit like that, you don't even know what the fuck you be saying. You be like, blah, 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 like you just be saying some off the wall shit, like when niggas be drinking and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like when niggas be drinking, they just say they don't care, give a fuck what they about to say. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's one guy from Drinking Fathers. Next track, Ephraim. So all of my Fresh Prince and Bel Air fans should know about this song right there, and I'm gonna get into that in a minute. Eddie tells a story about this cat named Ephraim that he wanted to fight. For some fight this dude named Ephraim, and so he was getting ready to fight him. And the reason why I mentioned Fresh Prince of Bel Air because while Eddie was fighting him, he's straight up and shit like that. Then he says, "Mind your business, mind your business." And if you guys are familiar with the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, especially in the second season, you remember that one episode when Ashley was getting bullied by that one chick. And rest in peace to the father of the chick. I think his name is John Wesley or whatever. He died recently, so rest in peace to him. And so Will was trying to teach Ashley this technique, how to be tough and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So you guys should know, but he's like, back up, mind your business, mind your business. And so that's where I heard it came from this shit right here, if I'm not mistaken. So that's where that shit came from. Ephraim. Pretty dope shit right there. Pretty dope, funny shit. Next track, The Pope and Ronald Reagan. Now, this is probably the most dated sketch, in this whole album. But at the same time, he's really saying some true shit with this one because with this one, he's talking about like 1980, 1981, how, people were trying to kill the Pope, Ronald Reagan, assassination attempt, and then you mentioned John Lennon and shit, and he was like, yo, what do you gotta do just to get the Pope shot? It's pretty much political satire, pretty much, and shit. So yeah, that was pretty cool. Next track, Hit by a Car, which was alright, not really too familiar with that, but and then the last track is Enough is Enough, where it's pretty much another. It's pretty much like a satire of I think homosexuality and shit, and also it's actually, if I'm not mistaken, a cover song. It's actually a cover song, if I'm not mistaken, of the Barbra Streisand and Donna Summer. It's pretty much his take on it, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's the whole self-titled album. Wait, hold up. Hold up. I could be wrong because actually I think I'm wrong on that one. It's just Wikipedia was just giving me some wrong information. I got some wrong notes from Wikipedia, but yeah. All right, so overall, who's performing? Oh shit. Okay. Um, I know that's not Sounds of Blackness. Oh shit. Okay, but other than that, I'm sorry about that. I just got distracted by it. But yeah, the self-titled Eddie. What can you say about this? When this album came out, around this time, Eddie Murphy, despite like the acclaim that he was getting for this new branch of comedy that he was doing, he was getting like shitted on as well too. And a lot of that criticism came about because of the stereotypes of homosexuality, Asians, black people, and whatnot. And it was just like, people were bashing him for that shit, you know what I'm saying? Saying his shit was way too vulgar and whatnot. Ugh, bullshit. And he got like a lot of flack from women's group too. And if you guys haven't seen nothing yet, stay tuned for the Comedian review and shit like that. Stay tuned when I talk about Comedian. And since I'm talking about stand up, even though it's not a stand up album, I might talk about Raw too. So I still might talk about Raw, but not at this second, sometime next month. But yeah. But yes, I think this album is pretty solid. This was like young Eddie Murphy and shit like that at his prime. Fucking dope. You know, minus this, I could have done without those songs, especially "Boogie Your Butt." But like I said before, this is a pretty influential album, an influential comedy album. It has like a cult status around it, you know, a cult following. Of course, it's not touching comedian in my opinion, but this album is, if you definitely want like a beginning look on, you know, Eddie Murphy's career or like stand up wise, this is the perfect album for you and shit like that. So yeah, this is Eddie Murphy, self-titled, released in 1982. This album's, I want to say this album's out of print. I want to say, give me 1 second. SOS Band, okay, shit. That's one thing about the Soul Train Awards. Some of the shit might be crap, but when they do them tributes, they be coming through. Yeah, this album's out of print and shit like that because I think the last known reissue was when it was reissued on CD in 1990, according to Discogs. So, if y'all can find this album, must have in your collection. It shouldn't be too expensive, but yeah. Oh yeah, SOS Band. Tell me if you still. Yeah, SOS Band, another underrated R&B group right there. Some of Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis's best production came when he did that. They did that 1983 album and shit. So, alright, what's up? I'm gonna stay on the chat just for a little bit because I got some news to work on and shit. But what's up, everybody? What's up, Sam? What's up, Ash? What's up, Try? Got some news for everybody. So this past Friday, I've done an interview with Sherry Sher, and Sherry Sher, she's basically a member of the Mercedes Ladies, Mercedes Ladies were like the first female hip hop rapper and DJ group and stuff like that. So I'm gonna post that interview on my channel, but I think sometime either this week. So yeah, so this week I just have to like make sure the sound is right and everything like that. So stay tuned on that interview. Also regarding this week and shit like that. Like I mentioned, I got a lot of dope reviews I'm coming out with this week regarding Eddie Murphy's Comedian. I'm gonna I was saving this, you know, for the collection video, but I've mentioned this album a couple of times, and I finally gonna talk about it. Well, sometime this week, and it's Diana Ross's Diana album, released in 1979. So I got this. I recently got this a couple of days ago and shit like that. Finally got my hands on this dope album, but it's a story with this album. What is it? Okay, Alexander O'Neal, Sherelle. Okay. Alexander O'Neal still ain't got no teeth though, but let me stop. So yeah, that's review. I want to do that review sometime this week. So yeah. Yeah, Strawberry said, what's my favorite Eddie Murphy film? Shit. Wow, damn. I want to say Coming to America, but that's like the most general answer. I want to say, you know what? I'm gonna say Trading Places. Like, that was a dope movie. I like Trading Places. Coming to America is probably my second favorite movie. Then after that, I want to say Harlem Nights. You know, just the chemistry between Murphy, Red Fox, and Richard Pryor, man. Come on, man. You can't go wrong with that. Ashley said I have more than one favorite Eddie Murphy movie. They are Coming to America, Boomerang. Yeah, Boomerang was dope. Have y'all seen the show? I don't know what the show is like. I've seen a couple of scenes in the show. Yeah, I'm in a like Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis mode now. Fuck that. So yeah, he said Beverly Hills Cop 1 and 2, Life was pretty dope. And Norbit. Yes, Ashley. Yes, finally somebody that likes Norbit. Yes. Okay, that's what's up. Cause I always felt like it wasn't his best movie, but it was pretty much the closest we'll ever get to like adulthood Eddie Murphy. Besides the amount of the amount of kid movies that he's done in that decade and shit. Okay, Morris Day, the time. Okay. Yeah, I also gotta check out Morris Day's autobiography. I also gotta check that shit out. So yeah, we don't only entertain, we educate in this place. So yeah, try. He is coming out with Beverly Hills Cop 4 on Netflix next year. Huh, man, he's coming out with sequels to Cop, Coming to America, Beverly Hills Cop. What's next? Are we gonna get a Life 2 or something? God, I hope not. But yeah, um, yeah, the third film. I didn't even see the third Beverly Hills Cop. I heard it was bad and shit. Sorry about that, but yeah. Um, so yeah, that's crazy as hell. Like they're doing a fourth Beverly Hills Cop and shit, but shit. He's doing SNL with Kanye West. Oh, come on. I don't want to hear that gospel shit that Kanye is doing. No. Out of all the, hush. Come on now. Shit. I don't even know if I really want to do that. Eddie Murphy's music albums, to be real with you. I don't even know. I don't even know about that one, but I'll think about it. Morris Day, man, you still got it. That's all I gotta say. Yeah, Jerome is still holding that damn mirror. Yes. Um, SOS band. They're like two members left. Oh, for real? I don't. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, also, this week, this week. Hush. Give me 1 second. Jesus Christ. But I'm sorry about that. But damn, what was I saying? Yeah, there's like two members left in the SOS band from what I've seen. But yeah. Oh, what was I? Oh yeah. So this week, me and Ash, we are also gonna review Ghostface Killer's bulletproof wallets. But this is gonna be a pretty interesting review because if you guys should know, bulletproof wallets, the retail version is not the real official version of the album. So it's gonna be a two-part review. Me and Ash, we're gonna do the retail version, and I'm gonna do like the bootleg version, aka the unreleased version and shit. I really definitely felt like that album is worth talking about, and I just realized I never really done any Wu Tang reviews all year, and it was pretty much on purpose. It was pretty much on purpose because after I spent basically almost all of last year talking about the second wave of solo albums and shit. I kind of like let me take a little break from Wu Tang albums reviewing and shit like that because I know some people want me to talk about A Better Tomorrow for a trash review. That's coming. Believe it or not, that's coming. But at the same time, just like Encore, I'm not ready to do that review just yet. So, y'all just have to beware and shit like that because I'm gonna go off on the album. I'm gonna go off on the album. Fuck that. Yeah, Jimmy Jam. I heard he lost a lot of. I don't know what's going on with Jimmy Jam, but he does look a little skinnier than usual. But okay. And so with the year ending and shit like that, December I'm gonna be clocking in some reviews left and right, left and right. But I'm not gonna be giving too much reviews and shit because I'm not gonna be doing too much reviews and shit like that, because at the same time I'm just trying to like get my shit together so I can graduate in May hopefully and stuff like that. Get my thesis together. I also got a new internship at a new label and stuff, a record label here and shit like that too. So, and I'm trying to plan some good stuff for the YouTube as well too. You know, like I mentioned before, I'm gonna do that thing about black television. I want to do like a beef series and whatnot. Still got some dope reviews. I still got some dope reviews I want to close out the year with and whatnot. So, yeah, man, I'm still gonna be doing my thing and shit like that. Um, gonna drop a project sometime later on this year, hopefully. So, yeah, trying to get my shit together. You know what I'm saying? So, as always, I'm just trying to keep myself busy as always. Sam said, "Can you review HNIC album by Prodigy?" I'm gonna review. I would review that. I'm gonna actually get the album. I want to actually get the album in order to review it and shit. So, but yeah, that's a dope album. I do like that album and shit. Okay. What's up, Christian? Looking for. By the way, I had to trade my copy of Iron Man for the OG Preston. Ooh, yeah, I got the OG Preston of Iron Man 2, but I got my version. It didn't come with like the front booklet. So, but at least I still got it. At least I still got it. I'm still gonna get like a vinyl version of the album and shit, cause I know they re-released the album on vinyl. I think I want to say last year. So, yeah. And like oh yeah, I want to do like one more collection video before the year is over. Just trying to wait on a few more albums to come and stuff like that. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, try. We definitely gotta do the HNIC album and shit. Definitely. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. And with that being said, you know what? I'm definitely gonna end it off for the night and shit like that, cause I just gotta get some stuff organized for the tonight and this week. Stay tuned. Tonight I'm definitely gonna post some announcements, what videos to expect this week. There's like Tashina Arnold and fucking Tisha Campbell just mad disappeared for like 2 hours and shit, and they just came back and shit. Oh well. Other than that, like I said before, thank y'all so much for the stand-up reviews, and the Delirious, aka Comedian album, is definitely coming this week. Got a lot of albums to do this week and shit. I know me and Try, we're gonna do the Lab Cabin California album review on his channel and shit. So be on the lookout tomorrow on that one. Shit, okay. And like I said before, Eddie Murphy, self-titled album, released in 1982. Must have in your collection. And with that being said, subscribe button, like, share. This is your boy Reg here. Thank y'all so much for watching. Peace.